Good afternoon, YouTubers. Welcome back into the final edition of Astros Recap Postseason edition. So, this will wrap things up for the season. I am super late. I plan to get on here and actually do a bunch of things and close up at least the Astros part of the season after they lost. A few days thereafter, I had major computer issues. Computer wouldn't even turn on, so I had to actually open it up in the back and anyway, it was not an easy fix to actually fix it, but we're here, we're back. Actually, not a terrible time to get on because the postseason, the season's finally over, like the postseason as well as the Rangers won the World Series, obviously. Not excited about that, but at the end of the day, I don't really care, to be quite honest. I was rooting for the Diamondbacks, of course. Why would I want the Rangers to win? I don't know anybody would actually want the Rangers. If you live in Houston and you're an Astros fan, how could you possibly want the Rangers to win? Makes zero sense. I think I've talked about this, maybe not, but it was a big topic on the radio, I feel like, this past week. But anyway, it is Thursday. It's 2:47 p.m., November 2nd, so we are now into November. Halloween's over, and we start the off season here. All teams do. Hadn't talked to you since the Astros went down 0-2. Wait, is that right? Might have been right, yeah. So I actually should have got on. No, I'm trying to think. Did I don't know. I was just looking at my videos earlier, and at least when they were posted. But anyway, yeah, we know what happened. They went down 0-2. They go on the road. They went 0-3 on the road, and they come back home and they lose their final two. Very similar to what happened in 2019. So yeah, it's a road team won every game. So the Astros, I think about the. Usually when a team loses in the playoffs, what's the major issue or the downfall, or what was it that cost them the season? Pretty simple. The Astros couldn't win at home. And that was not breaking news. In 2019 when it happened, that was a big shocker because the Astros were so good at home that regular season. 60-21, I believe, in the regular season. This one wasn't shocking. The Astros didn't play well at home all year. And again, I'm sick of hearing excuses from people about the batter's eye. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That batter's eye's been there for 7 years, and both teams play with the same batter's eye. Why do the Astros have an issue with it, but no other team does? So I don't buy that sort of analogy, or that. I don't buy it, and I don't know. I think it's one of those things that just really can't be explained when it comes to the Astros' inability to win at home. They needed one game, and they couldn't. So, that's the frustrating part of it. You usually try to get home field advantage in the playoffs, which the Astros did. They got the bye. They got the home field advantage, at least in that first round. Or, yeah. They would have played, 4 in Baltimore. Baltimore beat the Rangers, but obviously that didn't happen. So, but yeah, I look at the season and I think about that. The home field was not an advantage for them. The road was all year. So, listen, it's over. It's disappointing still, but I'm over the initial disappointment phase, I guess. And we go to the offseason now. And the Astros have a lot of questions to, obviously shortly after that game when they lost, Dusty Baker retired from the Astros. I do not think he retires from baseball. I think he loves baseball too much. I don't know if he's a manager somewhere or if he's doing something else, but I imagine he's not going to fully retire. He could, and he's 74. He very easily could retire and enjoy, the final chapter of his life. I don't know. But I think Dusty likes baseball too much. And, he stepped away from the game for quite a bit. After that last job with the Nationals, he stepped away and was gone for, I'm trying to think, I can't remember the exact year, but that was his last. He only lasted, I think, 1 year with the Nationals. Might have been 2. But he stepped away for, I want to say 3 to 4 years before coming to the Astros in 2020. And then, yeah, so, he did a little work on TBS, I think. The baseball side of TBS when he was actually, I guess, unemployed. He might be interested in doing that again. I don't know. But I think Dusty likes baseball too much to just stop it altogether. So I imagine he's doing something. Don't know if it's a managing job somewhere or what, but I imagine will be doing something. I think the Astros more so wanted to move on from him. So I think it was just sort of a peaceful sort of moving on. So the Astros, big thing in the offseason, first thing, well, we'll see. I don't like Jim Crane calling the shots. Dana Brown should be. Jim Crane had a terrible offseason last after winning the World Series, firing James Click and putting people like Jeff Bagwell in charge, which is a stupid decision, at least from my point of view. I don't need Jeff Bagwell involved in my baseball decisions. I need Dana Brown involved in those. So, got a text here. I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, yeah, the other things you look at, as far, so let's put this into two sections. Should have started this way, but like the Astros losing, the Rangers winning the World Series, and now off-season outlook. Dusty Baker's gone, new manager. A lot of names floated out. Obviously, I've been a big Joe Espada guy. In fact, I wanted him to actually get the managing job after A.J. Hinch got fired, which was in 2020. I wanted Espada to move up. And for some reason, they just don't like to do that. And Espada's not going to stick around forever. He's been here since 2018 as the bench coach. He previously, before that, was actually the third base coach of the Yankees in that 2017 World Series. Or playoff run. We played them in the ALCS, but yeah. I would like Espada to be, he knows his team very well. I would trust him to make better decisions than Dusty did. Yeah, I for some reason the Astros, I want Espada. I just don't know if that's going to happen. For some reason, they like so many names have been floated out there. Craig Counsell is a guy, like he's going to get a lot of money, and the Astros aren't going to pay their manager a ton of money, so I don't think they get Counsell because there's other teams that I think are more interested in him. Brad Ausmus was a guy. Not happy about that. The other guy they brought up, there's a guy on the Rangers staff was talked about yesterday. Will Venable. I'm trying to think. Who's the other guy on their coaching? It's like their bench. I don't know who it was, but Will Venable is part of their coaching staff. It wasn't him though, but he's a guy that might get some interviews. I don't know. There's been a lot of names thrown out there, obviously. Talking about going young. A.J. Hinch is a guy about bringing him back, which I do not want. A.J. Hinch wasn't good at managing a bullpen either. I don't even know his contract stat, if it's up in Detroit or not, but I mean, he was nothing great. I mean, again, man, like, I'm not that crazy about a manager to begin with. Like, even if they went Ausmus, which I don't like, it wouldn't bother me a whole lot. Because I'll stick by the point I made all year. Managers are largely meaningless. They lose you more games than they win you. It's that simple. If you have a good roster, you should win games. If you don't, you're not. Like, I don't look at a manager and think, wow, he makes a huge difference. I don't think they do. I think GMs do. Jeff Luna was case in point number one. James Click did his job here. And Dana Brown got the job done at the deadline. Brought over what we needed, an ace, Justin Verlander. And when it mattered the most, Justin Verlander performed as an ace. So, yeah. But Dana Brown's specialty, or what he's good at, most good at, is drafting, which will be important because the Astros don't have a farm system right now. And building that back up to sustain success is going to be a big challenge. So we'll see. And the Astros farm system is one of the worst in baseball. They even gave away some of the talent they had to get Verlander, so it's even worse than it already was. So it's probably 30 teams in the league. They're probably 30th or 20, bottom 5 for sure. So don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah, they don't have any top 100 prospects. Not one. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't think the window's closed. The Astros, when it comes to free agents, obviously Michael Brantley's the first one. In terms of position players, I don't see him returning. So the Astros will be in the market for a left fielder, or just an outfielder in general, really. Some names, Max Kepler's a guy that my friend actually brought up, but Lourdes Gurriel, I think, would actually be a nice. I don't know how good. I'd have to look at his numbers, but him being a Gurriel, the fans would be all over that. I feel like, and I think he is a free agent, so they can't make a trade. They have nothing to trade really. So when it comes to players, they have to sign people. And then I look at the other side of things. It's really the bullpen and the three guys: Phil Maton, Ryan Stanek, Hector Neris are all free agents. So what do the Astros plan to do there? They plan on signing one more back, two more. We'll see how they do things. If you're asking me, I think Stanek would be the guy of the three I would vouch to come back more. Like, I would be focused on him more so than anybody else. They still have Kendall Graveman, Brian Abreu, Ryan Presley. Graveman's injury, I do not know how severe that is, but there's been talk about that being a big deal. I don't know. I won't know, but if Graveman's healthy, he's another setup option. Again, Montero's there. I'm not going to expect anything from him. I think he is who he is. He had that one outlier season back in 2022, but he was pretty bad this year. Finally got demoted after using him more than he was deserved. Started to use him a little bit in mid-relief, which he wasn't terrible at, but again, he was never getting big outs. And he also cost you a chance. Was it in Game 6? Not sure. I think it was Game 6 where he came in like in the 8th inning and really put the game out of reach. So, yeah. I'm going to I know this is terrible, but this might be a big emergency, so I'm just going to respond to this real quick. All right. So, yeah, that's the free agents I look at. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's so many starters. Like, getting a reliable starter, I think, would actually be a good thing. Like, not a top-end guy, but maybe like a solid low-end 2, top-end 3. That's reliable. Because I look at the Astros, they have like 8 starters to choose from. I mean, you're going to have Verlander, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Jose Urquidy, Hunter Brown. Who's the other guy? Hunter Brown, J.P. France. McCullers is a ginormous question mark. That's 7. I'm missing a few. I know I am. But there's a few other guys in the mix as well. So they have 8 or 9 guys. I think 8 if you really narrow it down. I don't expect McCullers to be anything really. If he's healthy, that's great. But even if he's healthy, he won't stay healthy. Like, his only chance to actually, like, pitch a full season would be out of the bullpen. And getting him to agree to that, well, if he was smart and he wanted to pitch a full year, he would agree to that because he can't survive a regular season. He can't do it. It's just that simple. And I don't even like talking about Lance McCullers because every time I do, it gets me worked up. So I just don't even like talking about Lance McCullers. So I wanted to go there. But to get one more reliable guy that you can actually count on health-wise, I think is big. Because, I mean, who got hurt? I mean, Luis Garcia, that's another guy I missed. He didn't pitch at all. We pitched like maybe 3-4 starts this year. But even when Garcia comes back next year, it won't be till after the All-Star break because he had Tommy John. That's a big deal for pitchers, so they're not going to rush him back. But, yeah, Luis Garcia is the other guy. That's 8 guys: Verlander, Valdez, Javier, Urquidy, Hunter Brown, J.P. France, Lance McCullers, and Luis Garcia. That's 8 guys. But who stays healthy? Who can... That's why I think if you add one more guy, be a pretty good thing. Hunter Brown was very not good this year. He got markedly worse month by month. So, I mean, I don't know how you look at things, but adding a starter, one more reliever, depending on what you do with the 3 that are free agents, an outfielder. Astros have a lot to sort of... Oh, God, I can't deal with that right now. Sorry. But, yeah, Astros, have some things they got to work out. And Dana Brown should be at the front of these decision-making, not... It shouldn't be Jim Crane. It shouldn't be Jeff Bagwell. But Jim Crane, for some reason, loves to put Bagwell in charge of some of the front office. I don't know. It was a bad offseason, though. Like Brantley played 15 games this year, and then he got sprinkled into postseason games. But 15 games is what he played in, regular season was. You look around, Montero, terrible 3-year deal. And of course, Abreu, who needs to be better because you're stuck 2 more years with him, but we can't deal with a 230 hitting first baseman. If he could just get to 250 and hit me 20 home runs and drive in 80 runs, I'd take it. But can he do that? Pena's got to be better. Bregman's got to be better. So many players that underperformed this year. It's almost amazing to think the Astros got to Game 7 of the ALCS when you describe how the season sort of played out with injuries and everything that took place with their players that you expect to be big-time guys. Tucker and Alvarez were the 2 best offensive players all year. Tucker stunk in the playoffs. Couldn't buy a hit. It was so bad. That hurt, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spend all day here, but that's sort of my off season. And, a lot of deals won't be made till the winter meetings. I do plan to get on sometime, probably next year, early in January, if moves have been made. Sort of Shohei Ohtani's the big name. People think, and I could see that whenever he finally gets, that's what I'm looking for here. When he finally gets dealt or signs, then all the dominoes will fall after that. So, because there's a lot of teams that he could go to. Astros aren't one of them. And he's not going to be able to pitch for whoever he plays for, I don't think, at least for the first year. But yeah, I mean, division, obviously the Rangers will be a factor going forward. Can't count the Mariners out. They'll still be there. So the division and things are going to be tougher. I did like playing everybody. That was kind of cool. So we'll continue to do that. But again, I'll sort of leave you with that. Rangers win the World Series. Diamondbacks magical Cinderella story sort of ran out there at the end. But yeah, I'm trying to think here. Any loose ends to wrap up. But those are just my thoughts. Another good season. I tinkered with some things throughout the year. Mic issues, camcorder's been never an issue. But I've been trying to sort of get better quality because even with this mic that's better than what I had previous to it, the sound quality still isn't perfect. So, working at the radio station, using their equipment and their mics, it's crystal clear quality, but getting that uploaded was a big issue when I tried it, a few months ago. So, again, we'll see how things go. I might try something different, but I'll be back next year. I mean, I'm not going to stop doing this, but it's unfortunate that the computer issue happened right at the end. I tried to put a bow on the season for, more than a week now. I haven't been able to do it. So, but we're here. This will wrap things up, at least for 2023. And I'll talk to you again in January, most likely. But I got to wait for some deals to drop, especially on the Astros' behalf, to get into that. But I'll wrap things up there, and we'll talk to you next year.